So we'll just begin by welcoming you and thanking you, Michelle, for coming along, giving the village leaders such fantastic feedback about different posts we put up and different podcasts that we put up on our Facebook page. And it's wonderful you could join us today because we'd love to talk to you about your story.
Oh, I just really enjoy following you guys and watching how much you've grown over the time that you've actually started. And I do enjoy giving feedback because the only way that you can grow is by the feedback that you receive from your listeners. And if we don't give you that, well, you're not going to improve. So.
Oh, and thank you so much because we've been calling out for feedback. You know, and people are busy and sometimes people don't know what to say or how to say it, so they don't comment at all. But you did, and but we're so appreciative. Because you're right, that's how we learn and grow, and also how we learn, what the needs of our audience is, and what we can do that might be able to help them meet some of their needs as well.
And I guess with everybody being so busy and the stresses of life and stuff like that. And you were sort of saying about, what you do, what everybody does for their stress. It's always good to find out what you guys do with, when you're stressed and, stuff like that. So that was really good. I enjoyed listening to that part. I guess people that don't know me, I've got a 31-year-old son. He's got a genetic disability called Cohen syndrome. So I've been at this disability journey for a number of years now. It hasn't been easy. Ryan was only diagnosed with his disability, his genetic disability, probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. We always knew that there was something sort of wrong with him right from birth. And it's taken all these years going through genetic specialists and all that sort of stuff to finally find a genetic condition. His labels in the meantime have been autism, cerebral palsy, legally blind, low muscle tone, you name it, Ryan had it. He's had repair of his kyphosis, and it almost seemed like every year there was a new diagnosis for him. Ryan's had numerous operations over the years. It's been really, really hard on not just me and my husband, but also on our other children as well. There's been some really funny times. It hasn't really been funny at the time, but looking back now, our other siblings, they had artwork and projects and stuff like that they had to have at school the next day. And all of a sudden, Ryan's drawn all over it, or he's ripped it up or chewed it or something, and the kids have come up, Mum, Dad, Ryan's done this, and they've got to go to the teacher and say, I can't hand my homework in or whatever, and they've spent hours and hours on these huge, great big projects, and Ryan's annihilated it. And, we can look back and laugh now, but at the time it would have been very stressful. It certainly wasn't very funny, but there's been other times that, because we always tried to treat Ryan the same as our other kids. When we were disciplining the other kids, we always included him as well. So when they got a smack, Ryan would line up with his nappy on, and he would bend over for his smack too.
Oh, okay.
But as if that was going to hurt him.
Yeah, threw an nappy,
the kids would get him up on top of the chook yard, and one would be down the bottom and say, here, catch Ryan. Well, as if one of them was going to catch him.
Is Ryan the youngest?
No, Ryan's the eldest.
He's the eldest,
Yeah, so he's got 3 younger siblings. He's got 2 younger brothers and a younger sister.
Yeah, okay.
So, they did lots and lots of funny stuff, but they always included him in what he did, what they did. If they were learn to ride a bike, they would put Ryan on their two-wheeler bike, one either side, and they would push him either side. So they included him in everything that they did.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
So yeah.
And you can see that in the way that all of you interact and work together now. You know, that value that you had, that Ryan is going to be the same as everyone else. He's going to have as normal life as we can make for him.
Yeah. And I think, like, when he eventually left school, well, just before he left school, Ryan was actually made the school captain of the special school.
Was he?
So, which was really quite impressive for us. And we were given the option of Ryan having an extra year at school, but we declined that because we said, well, if Ryan was like our other children, he would be leaving school, and it just so happened that our next eldest son, he would have been leaving school at the same time as Ryan if we had have done that, and we said no, that's not fair on our next eldest son for that to happen, because that would have taken away his year.
Yes.
So we said no, and Ryan left school as a school captain. So
Which is a great way, isn't it, to finish school
so
on a high?
Yeah, so that's what we thought. So we let him leave school at the same time as what he would normally leave school. And we said to Ryan, you know, what would you like to do now? And he wanted to have a job. He wanted to be like everybody else. And I think now that's why Ryan doesn't think that he's got a disability. Ryan, you ask Ryan if he's got a disability and he'll tell you no.
Which is fantastic. And I remember the time when he wanted a car. And he got a car, didn't he?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Ryan's wanted to be, like I say, he wanted to be like everybody else. He wanted a car, he wanted a job, and so we set him up. He wanted a red car, but it just wasn't going to work. So we got him a white car instead. But we started up a business for him. So with a business comes a car, but of course Ryan's not going to be able to drive with his disabilities, so of course we had to have a worker. And he goes around and collects recyclables and does courier work and all that sort of stuff, and he just loves it. He throws his work shirt at us on a weekend and, come on, want to go to work? No, sorry mate, you can't.
It's the weekend. It's the weekend. and so even to this day, he's still as keen as he always was?
Oh, look, he's probably keener. Like, his workers start work in the morning at 7 o'clock, and by 7:45, he's out the door with his lunchbox and water bottle, and the workers are still standing at the door putting their shoes on, and he's in the car waiting.
Ready to go.
I'm sure that he's probably like tapping on the
on the dashboard of the door or something.
He's sitting in the car with his seatbelt on waiting. Probably got half a dozen pairs of sunglasses on and a hat.
And what about all the... sorry, go on, Deb.
I was just going to say, I mean, it sounds, we can just say, and you got a job, but of course there was a lot of work that you had to do to be able to create that business where Ryan could work, and you know, you're supporting Ryan to be able to work, but you've also developed a business, and that's a big job. Yeah,
it is a big job. And if anybody out there decides that they want to start a business for their person with a disability, don't. Because it's
stress reducing tip.
Because it doesn't matter whether you're running a business for, like I started the business as a sole trader. It doesn't matter whether you're running a business for a multi-million-dollar company or whether you're just running a business for one person. It's still the amount of paperwork and ticks and flicks as, you know, as any other business. Yeah. And it's just as stressful. You still spend time in the office, and because I'm not an office person and never have been, and I've had to learn along the way, you know, it still takes me time to do my typing, and you know, by the time you sit in the office and talk to yourself and you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But you know, but it's really rewarding to see where Ryan's coming and the life skills that he's learnt and the people in the community that he's met. And people say to, like, Ryan, somebody went up to Ryan the other day and they said, oh yeah, Ryan comes into our business all the time and we love seeing him, and if Ryan doesn't go into businesses, oh, we haven't seen Ryan, where's he been? Is he okay? Where's the family? How's the family going?
Yeah.
And I know by starting the business and by doing this sort of thing that when my husband Garth and I aren't here anymore, that Ryan's going to be safe in this community, because it's the community that's going to keep Ryan safe. Even though Ryan's got 2 brothers that live in this community, it's going to be the community that keep him safe. Ryan doesn't wear high vis to say, hey, look at me, I stand out. It's so that he fits in with the Mackay community, because the Mackay community is a high vis community.
That's right, exactly. So he's just one of the community, just another community member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what all of us want, isn't it?
Yeah.
To connect with others and feel valued and feel like you're part of things.
Yeah, and that's what Ryan does, and he loves being part of it. He walks in, he holds his head high, and I just sort of thank the Mackay community for you know, including him, and you know, they quite often just love seeing him, and they, like, if they're having a bad day, they see him walking in and you know, they always make him feel better. So
yeah, I know he's very well known and much loved, is my sense, in this community, because he is out and about and he's visible, and that's, you know, full credit to you and your family. You know, I know that you've done the lion's share of that work, getting the businesses up and running, but I suppose you think, well, what would have happened if you hadn't done that for Ryan? You know, what would his life have been like?
I think after Ryan left school, Ryan had some really serious behaviours, and it was really quite heartbreaking, and it was really, really sad, and it was because he didn't have a routine, and I don't know what would have happened. I really don't know. Maybe he might not be here anymore. Maybe he might be living in a different town on his own. Maybe he would be having lots and lots of medication.
Yes.
Maybe he might be doing something really mundane and just
existing.
Just barely functioning.
Yeah.
But I think it's because the way that we treated him, because we didn't really have a diagnosis, because we tried to treat him as normally as possible, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just a combination of me being a hard person that really didn't care. Maybe it's because I used to be a nurse, and my lack of sympathy for the human people, I don't know. I think as you get older, you get harder. I don't know.
I think you've been a really tenacious advocate for Ryan, and you've really, you know, you've gone out there and made the businesses happen, and as you've just said, like, Ryan's quality of life as a result of, you know, your efforts to get all that up and running, is just, it sounds like he has a very full life, doesn't?
Oh
do you
yeah.
think?
It's brilliant.
And a high quality of life as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Especially when you think about, like, what you just said, like, what might have happened had you not done that, you know? Like, you know, I think that's the wonderful story in all of this, and I think that's the story that other people really need to hear about, because you've made almost like the impossible possible for Ryan. You know, I think there's so many parents who would love to do the same but don't know even where to begin for their own child, you know, who may have a disability, a profound disability as well. So
and really, you didn't know in the beginning, did you? You didn't know how to run a business. You didn't know how well any of this was going to happen. You just knew that you wanted Ryan to have as normal life as possible, to have a life that he liked, and that you were going to push and push and push until you made it happen.
Yeah. And I think that everybody has got something that they can offer to a community, and it doesn't matter what your disability might be. There's something for everybody. That, you know, it doesn't matter if there's something. You can sell flowers, you can sell oils, you can, you know, you just have to find something.
Yeah, whatever that something is for that person.
There's, you know, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. You can, you know, there's something that you can do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a wonderful, you know, that's a really brilliant example of, you know, a great story of what you've done, you know, what you set up and how much Ryan's benefiting, you know, and just living a good life now.
Yeah.
But you responded to our podcast about self-care and dealing with stress, which obviously there's been a lot of that along the way. and I think you were talking about, you know, being real about the stress that people face, and, you know, what actually works on the ground, because we can read lots of nice things, but you know, when you're in the thick of it, what is it that gets you through? So, you know, we'd be keen to hear from you about what's worked for you.
Yeah.
Well, what works for me is more work. I guess I'm probably a bit of a workaholic. I love going out and whippersnipping. I love getting on the ride-on mower. And I guess I love thinking and planning my next little thing that I can either do for Ryan. And I've also been dabbling in a little bit of woodwork, making plant stands and stuff like that. I've got a son that owns a mechanic business, and I've done some, like, I'll get a car spring and a piece of timber, and then you put a pot plant in it, and the plant grows up around the spring, and you know, stuff like that. So, and use a bit of resin and stuff. And I've made there's another piece of timber that I've got that looks like a fish, and then I've put in some like a hydrometer and a barometer and stuff like that into it for him. And, you know, different bits and pieces, and pot stands and stuff. So a bit of that sort of wood.
So you kind of get lost in the creativity of what you're doing, do you?
Yeah.
And tune out like the rest of the world while you're doing it.
But I really love, like, I mean, it sounds really weird, but I do love whippersnipping, because you know, I can just sort of put my stresses and my physical energy and my anger or whatever frustration into that sort of,
into getting rid of that grass,
into getting rid of those weeds.
Those weeds.
Yeah. Or I just get on the ride-on, and you know, I can just get on there and just
mow
and nobody can contact me because I can't hear my phone in my pocket. So
you're sort of in your own world.
And it's easy. You just got the wind, and you're looking at the trees and the birds, and it's just.
So part of it is about being in nature.
Yep.
And just kind of tuning the rest of the world out for a little while. Give you a break.
Right. Because we've got acreage. You know,
you can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Lots of mowing to be done. So actually you do have time away from the work and away from your family, and something that's just for you.
Yeah. I mean, I like the simple things. I like my animals. I've got half a dozen chooks and a couple of dogs, and you know, it's just those simple things that I do. I mean, I even like going out and hanging clothes on the line. I mean, that's enough just to help me de-stress. I mean, it's still work, but I can do it in peace and quiet, and nobody annoys me.
Just with your own inner thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
No distractions.
Yeah.
And that's a real skill, isn't it? Because people can sometimes see that as another job. It's just another chore, and I just need to get through it. rather than actually taking the time to appreciate
Yeah.
what it gives you. It gives you time to be by yourself. It gives you time to just blank your mind out and enjoy the peace.
Well, the two dogs that we've got, the two outside ones, they follow me everywhere. The minute they hear me open the door, they're there. So they go everywhere with me. So they come out and they sit and help me hang the clothes on the wall.
And they're good company, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
they're that, you know, they can't speak obviously, and they just give you unconditional love, and they're
They don't make any demands of you.
No. They don't answer me back, which is good. You know, so you can have an argument with them and you always win.
Well, they're really good. Just really good practical. You said simple but practical strategies that you use that other people might be able to think, oh, something that I thought was a drudgery, like hanging the washing out on my own lawn, can actually be turned into a way to help me just tune out and de-stress and just look at it in a different way.
I mean, even going out to the mulberry tree and picking mulberries. You know, sitting there. I mean, I took a bowl out there to pick, a bowl full, but instead I picked half a dozen and ate them, and ended up with none in the bowl.
Yeah, we can often think that stress release has to be like, we go for massages, or we get our nails done, or we go away to a nice place for the weekend. And they're all, they can be great things, but they're expensive, and you've got to do some setting up for them. They can create stress in trying to be able to do them as well. Whereas you're talking about everyday things that we can all do.
Yeah.
Just appreciate what's around us.
Yeah. Things don't have to cost a lot of money to be able to relax. And that's where I think that people get wound up in the modern world. Like, we need to go back to basics and do simple things like when I get the granddaughters, I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, I say to them, come on, there's no TV, no iPods, no nothing when you come to Grandma's. We paint, we draw, we get in the rice. I've got a big pit that I've filled up with rice. We get in the rice. We go and play in the sand pit, and we also make out that it's blowing a gale and we can't walk. We make out it's raining, we put a make-believe umbrella up, and we throw leaves, and we do that sort of stuff. So we do imagination and all that sort of stuff with the granddaughters. So it's about simple things and bringing things back to basics.
That's creating just such wonderful memories for them, I'm sure, of their time with you, as they get older as well.
Yeah, because it's real quality time with Grandma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Things like that.
That's really, really lovely. I think you do those sorts of things, and they would love it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What about the really down days, Michelle? The days when you struggle to get out of bed, or you don't even get out of bed?
I don't have a great deal of them, although, those really down days, sometimes I do have them, and I've got to actually force myself to get out of bed because of Ryan. I know I've got to keep going, because if I don't, there's nobody else there to do it. Those days are really, really hard, and when Ryan does go to work, and if there is the opportunity, I will go back to bed and I will sleep. Because I know that if I don't, when he does come home from work, I'm too tired, and I can't afford to be tired, and I need my sleep, because otherwise I'm no good to him and I'm no good to myself. So if I can't rest and be in control of my thoughts and what's going to come out of my mouth, I can't help him. And if he's unwell, I can't be there for him. And I don't know when he's not going to be well and when he's going to be well. I mean, his health is really, really good, touch wood. But I need to be on my game 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and my mental health, is not real fantastic. So I need to be on my game all the time for him. My ears, well, I don't sleep well. My ear's always awake for him. So,
always listening out for him.
yeah.
So it sounds like you've really got very good though at understanding your own body and like your own healthcare needs, and then you do what you need to do to make sure you are as well as you can be, so that you can be there for Ryan.
Yeah. I guess it's taken a lot of years to do that.
But it's a real skill, isn't it?
Like
Like it is, isn't it?
It is.
To know yourself.
Yeah. And like I feel quite sorry for some of the younger parents who are going through some of this stuff, and I just wish that they would learn to listen and look at their children and read their body language, because body language is such an important thing to look at, because it's not actually behaviour, it's not them being naughty, it's them trying to communicate something to you. So, you know, if you just look at their body language, it's so important to look at. Because
sometimes it's the only way they can communicate. Yeah.
I just wish I had have learnt a long time ago that what Ryan was doing was him trying to communicate to us that there was something wrong, and him not being naughty. We thought he was just being naughty.
Behaviour.
Yeah.
But no, he's using his behaviour to try and communicate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really important point, Michelle.
Yeah.
And one that took you time to learn, but you know, hopefully any other parents, and that's regardless of whether children have a disability or not.
Exactly.
Anyone listening to this, knowing that sometimes children appear to be acting out, but it's about what's behind that and what are they trying to tell you, rather than just responding to the behaviour, which might be seen to be naughty behaviour or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us, Michelle, all about your business, what it is and what you do, and how anyone can contact you if they need to. Yeah.
Okay, well, Ryan's business is called Boles Go For Services. He's got a website, www.bolesgoforservices.com.au. It's Ryan does recycling. He also does courier work. Ryan's business has been running for approximately 11 years now. He will collect recycling from about, I think he must have about 100 sites now, between Mackay and Serena, and out to the northern beaches. He will collect recycling. He supplies a 60-litre wheelie bin. He'll collect either weekly, fortnightly or monthly, or as often as you like. He can also supply a cage with a wool bale if you've got that many, or if you're having a special function and you would like recyclables collected.
You can do a one-off.
Yeah, or he can leave the cage there, and some people prefer a cage. And we also, we've just got another job now, picking up parcels and taking them to the post office once a day. So yeah, no, that's what we do on a routine basis, and Ryan loves doing it.
And so is the best way for people to contact you through your website?
Ryan's got his own work phone, which is 0437 971 628, but all the details are on his website. He's also got a Facebook page. I quite often try and put photos up of what he's done either on the weekend or during the week. He does lots and lots of things during the week and over the weekends and stuff like that.
Thank you, Michelle, for your insights. Thank you for your feedback on the podcast, and for taking the time to come and meet with us today. You and I have been talking for many years, and it's just I just am so inspired by what you've done from very humble beginnings when you were really just finding your way to here you are, supporting the whole sector about how we can be better at self-care, and supporting the village leaders to, you're still reaching out and helping others. We really appreciate having you in our community. Thank you.